right, this is the part where you can finally turn your form into an actual lantern. So this demo is going to show you how to use your stencils, which you created using the templates, how to actually get these negative space designs onto your lantern, and also how to cut them out. So first of all, you should have your lantern already constructed. Again, mine doesn't have a bottom, it's detachable. So mine has an enclosed top. Yours might have a detachable top and a solid bottom. So again, all depends on your plan. You should have already cut out the negative space designs from every template that you need. Mine has only 3 areas, 3 parts that I do need to cut out from. If you haven't done this yet, you do need to go back and do that first. Then you're going to decide, well, which side do you want to apply the design? So I could put it on here. Now, don't freak out if your template doesn't fully fit your project because, again, since constructing it, it might be a little bit taller or you might have trimmed something, right? Because I had to, you saw my demo, I had to cut out all these pieces separately. I think I'm going to use this side. What's nice is I can lay my lantern sideways, which will make it a lot easier for me. But again, yours might be more vertical, but you should be able to turn it on its side. Also, this form should be about leather hard. That's a good stage for it to be in. So mine is leather hard at this point. There's still some moisture, but it's not super soft. Because if your form is too soft, when you cut into the wall, you don't want to accidentally drag the wall down like what I'm doing there. You don't want to drag the wall down because that's going to change, it's more work for you to fix it. So what you'll need when you're ready to actually get these designs on here is you're going to need your needle tool and your plan. We're not going to cut it out yet because this is really hard to hold up to the surface and cut it at the same time. It's not going to cut like paper, right? This is clay. So what I'm going to do for me, I'm going to lay it on here. Obviously, when I do the top, what I'm going to do for the top, because mine curves all the way around, I'm going to actually work in sections. I'm going to probably start on this side and then work my way that way. But let me show you how to use your needle tool to get the designs on here, and it's pretty simple. Now, you could take your needle tool, let me get this cleaned off. There we go. You could take your needle tool. Again, what I'm doing is I'm holding this stencil down on the clay. I'm being very gentle though. I'm not smushing it on. You could take your needle tool and carefully trace it. Not cut. I'm not cutting. I'm just tracing it. I could do that. But if you have really big shapes to cut out or really small shapes, you can also do this. You can just put a bunch of little dots. So you can see the dots that I added there. So then when I cut it out later, it's like connecting the dots and I can cut it out. Though you can't have this template stencil, you can't have it move around too much because look, I already have a very small space here in between. I don't want to accidentally cut it where it's in one giant shape because it's going to look like a fish. Okay. We don't want any floating fish in outer space for my design. So that's how you're going to go ahead and first translate your negative space design onto here. You shouldn't have to freehand the negative space. Again, I'm showing you 2 ways to do this, and it is easier using the needle tool because it's so thin, right? If you want to double check, you can. Like I was lifting it up to see did that work? Do I have a space to cut? So that's what you want to do first. So what I've already done so far is I used my stencil and I carefully drew around the exterior. Now again, you can do what I did where you lightly draw with the needle tool, or you can use dots. I would probably use dots for bigger shapes. For smaller shapes, to be honest, I would actually trace using your needle tool. So that's how I got this translated on here. Now the next step is actually getting ready to cut out everything. Now, do you need to have everything drawn on all sides before you cut out? No, I'm going to do one side at a time, to be honest. So what you'll need to cut out from the wall, you'll need a knife tool. Obviously, you probably don't have a fettling knife, so you could use an X-Acto knife, a box cutter. You can even use a sculpting tool if you're very careful. You'll need probably a sculpting tool. You'll need some water, not slip, but water, because you're going to have to clean off the inside. You'll need your needle tool, and I would also just hold on to your stencil, kind of refer to it if you kind of forgot what the shape is. So my next step is I'm going to show you actually how to cut out the parts of these. I'm going to show you how to deal with the corners as well, because the corners can get a little tricky. All right, slightly different view here. Whoa. So when you're getting ready to cut out your negative space, a couple things. I'm going to suggest work slow. You know, if this takes you 2 class periods to get everything cut out, then it takes you 2 class periods. Don't feel like you have to get everything cut out in 1 class period. I want you to do a good job with this portion. I want you to slow down. I don't want you to just rush it. So work slow, deliberate, be deliberate, because once you cut it out, it's kind of a pain to put it back in if you changed your mind. You will need to clean out the areas that you cut out. It's not just like, I cut it out, I'm done. You got to clean it up. And you're going to have to remove all crumbs from the interior walls and the lantern. Again, if you have a lantern where the bottom is solid, you're going to have to clean all that out. Again, mine is hollow because mine has a detachable bottom. I don't need that bottom right now. So it'll be a little easier for me to clean it out. But let me show you how to cut it out. So with your knife tool or sculpting tool, make sure that it is thoroughly cleaned off. I'm just removing any clay residue from my fettling knife. Could you cut with a needle tool? I'm going to say it's harder because you end up tearing the clay, because again, this is cylindrical and it's going through a wall of clay. It's not thin like a knife tool. Now for my demo, I'm going to start with something a little bit easier. I'm actually going to start with this to connect the dot. But when you're cutting, all right, I'm going to tilt this for the demo. When you're cutting, you do want to just cut directly in, right? You're just cutting directly in. And you kind of want to use it's okay if you come out. You want to use a sawing action. I'm going to say curves are a little bit tricky. They're possible, but they're just a little bit tricky. So I'm just kind of using a sawing action. I'm going up and down, but I'm not trying to just drag the tool down through the clay, because I don't want to drag everything with it. Especially if your slab is kind of thin, you might have a trickier time cutting. So I will show you later what to do if you have like holes you have to cut out, like circles. Now I can just push that out. I'll just save that. The clay will probably be leather hard. But what you could do is you could cut out all the negative space first, or you can cut out a few pieces and then go back and clean it up. But let me show you how to clean up this one, because this is a little easier. So you could use your needle tool to clean it up. If you have a paintbrush, you could use it to clean it up. If you have a sculpting tool of some sort, again, you have various tools in your toolkit, in your supply kit. So I'm going to use this because this is a little too small for my finger. But what I suggest doing is put some water on that tool and actually smooth out this inside. So I'm smoothing out. I'm going to go with my finger a little bit because I can get my finger kind of in there. But you also want to clean out the inside wall, because you'll notice the wall gets pushed out kind of like an open outie belly button, which sounds really disgusting, but well, to me it sounds disgusting. Also, you can take a look at what you did and look at it straight on and go, okay, was my cut like flat flush like with the wall? Mine wasn't exactly, because I was cutting at an angle for the demo, so I did have to do a little bit of trimming. But you do need to clean up all of the interior wall. That was just clay I just pulled off from the inside. This is why you want to have access to the inside of your lantern. And this is why you might want to do this one wall at a time, because if you cut out everything, then you're spending time cleaning everything up. It's going to get really boring. It's going to get boring. You're going to get annoyed, and then you're going to probably just forget what you cleaned up, and then half your cuts are not going to look very nice. So you do have to spend some time cleaning this up. This is totally doable if you have smaller cuts. I'm going to cut something smaller next. But anything that falls out, you do need to clean up all of the edges. You can smooth it out with your finger and some water. Water is probably going to be the best way to go for that. All right, so let me cut out something really small here. I'm going to cut out, let's see, we'll cut out this one right here. So again, now I am cutting into the corner, so this is good for you to see what to do. Again, I'm just kind of using a sawing action. Normally you should keep your work steady on the table, but I'm doing this because of the document camera. Now, if you have trouble pulling it out, you can use some tweezers, but now I got to clean this up. And you're like, well, it's kind of hard because my finger can't get in there. Yeah, I know, my finger can't get in there. So that's why I can use a sculpting tool. Again, you want to remove any crumbs that are stuck in there, especially on the inside. Now what happens is you don't see, if you look there, you see how it looks like there's almost teeth now? Yeah, you got to clean that out too. You can't leave it like that because that's going to be visible when you want to have a light. So I'm actually using this sculpting tool to just remove all that. And it looks like the corner didn't really do too much. Yeah, we can see that inside there kind of looks like a really bad scab. So gotta clean all that out. Because again, when you do finish this project, I am going to ask for pictures of the inside of your lantern. What does it look like on the inside, not just the outside? Now let me show you really quickly. I've got 3 minutes left. Let's do this. 3 minutes left. I'm going to cut out this part of the moon for you to show you what to do when you have something right on the corner. Just making sure my filing knife is the correct direction. You're not saving what you cut out. And again, I'm hopping around on my example because this is a demo. I normally would not be hopping around on an example. I probably would start at the top and work my way down. Come on, clay, get out. There we go. Okay, so that clay has been removed. Here's my little moon silhouette. Again, a little too small for my finger to get into, so I'm going to use this tool to kind of clean up the inside. And I cut right into the corner, so you do have to take a look and see what's going on the inside. What do you need to clean out? But using your tools is definitely going to help you. It's going to make it easier. So I'm going back and forth. So this is why this part takes a little bit longer. Most students think cutting out the negative space, like wham, 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 I did it. No, it takes some time, it takes some steps. So recap, knife tool is helpful. Water helps you smooth everything out. Needle tool, if you have really tiny things, you can use that as well. Work slowly, work deliberately. Clean up the areas as you cut them out so you don't forget to clean them. Remove all the crumbs from the interior walls and the lantern, so that's something I have to keep working on, getting part of this cleaned up. Now, if you have circles, what can you use to make circles? You could use the end of the needle tool. You could pop it in there really carefully. If you have a toothpick, if you have a chopstick, you can also use that to put it in. But you definitely want to, plan out the size of the circle. But one way to cut out a circle is to, we'll pretend I trace this circle on the slab. You can actually cut the circle in half and then cut around one way and cut around the other way. So instead of trying to do a circle all the way around, you cut it in half, cut one way, cut the other way. All right, my demo's almost done. That's what you do for cutting out the negative space from your lantern. Woohoo!